Welcome back. I'm trying to get the stream going here. I don't know why. Welcome to another special edition of Trends in the Housing Market. Welcome back to the tug of war. I'll try this stream all over again. I am not... Yeah, I'm getting really bad connection here, guys. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why. I don't have any connection here with the internet. Anyways, I'm gonna try to do this. Okay, I'm streaming now. Okay, thanks for watching, guys, for another edition of Trends in the Housing Market. It is I, Mike Martins, bringing you the trends in the housing market, broadcasting out of Merritt, BC. Comment section's on fire right now, so if you want to check in and input, I'm just gonna adjust my comment section here really quick. Sorry, guys. I've tried this 3 times. I'm not getting any internet connection. I'm with Shaw Cable. It's my internet connection. It keeps going down. I'm really sorry about that. I don't know what to do. I'm not a technician, so I can't go out and fix these damn wires and find out why they're you know, we're not having bad weather. Usually when you have bad weather, you usually get disconnects. Anyways, okay. Broadcasting out of Merritt, BC. Today is 21st of June, 2017. And 22nd of June, 2017, depending where you're watching this transmission. And I want to talk about the analysis that I've been seeing in the whole, just the way the whole media is circulating this thing. The way the media, hey guys, how's it going? Everyone's coming on. Someone's asking me, what if I'm wrong and there is no crash? Well, then 95% of the world won't have a home to live in if it continues like this. Anyways, let me analyze how I was saying this early before my stream went down. My stream keeps, I don't know why I'm getting really bad internet. But what I was analyzing is the housing crisis that I'm seeing through the media is reminding me of the American elections. American elections there's no difference between the housing crisis, and I'll explain to you why. There's a massive tug of war. You have some media out there saying everything's fine, don't panic. Then you get some other media reports saying, what the hell is going on? Everybody's maxed out. This is crazy. So you're getting a mishmash of reports, and you get this tug of war happening. And this reminds me again of the American, what's happened in the U.S. with the whole elections. You get like all this media on this side saying this, and then you have all this other media on the other side saying this, and it's back and forth ranting. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm watching articles coming out of Australia. Okay? You see the article saying, hey, you know what? It's okay, you know. This is all normal. Don't panic. You know, don't panic. It's all good. You get these blips now and then, you know? It's like a bad weather. Comes and goes, you know? That's, you know, the analogy they give. But in all fairness, then you have the other side of the media saying, holy smokes, what the hell is going on here? This is crazy. Anyways, I'm seeing that now, the huge divide between different media associations. How, I guess they're being, given a little bit of, how do you say, I don't want to say money, but just given a little bit of, hey, this is happening. Just say it like that. Then the other guys are the whole rebel media. They're like, no, what are you guys doing? Why you got these auto loans? Why are you taking lines of credit? Why are you mortgaged to the brim? Anyways, okay. Today, I'm wearing my Portugal hat. We got to pray for Portugal because of the fires. I just want to, before I kick off my show, fires killed 64 and injured more than 200. And I had a friend that called me from Portugal to tell me that he had friends, I had a friend in one of the cars, and what happened was they were escaping the fire by car. And what happened was the fire moved 10 kilometers in like 20 minutes. Like the fire moved so fast. So a lot of people died in their cars. So before we kick off tonight's show, I want to thank the 2,000 firefighters that are still battling the fires. And I want to thank the reinforcements that have arrived. Over 2,000 reinforcements have arrived from France, Spain, and Italy to help out the Portuguese with this disaster. And I just want to create awareness out there, you know, that European countries are kind of sticking together on this. So I kind of wanted to put this out there before I kicked off today's show. And it looks like our health stream, our live stream, the health is doing good. I'm going to get a phone number for here for the show. So when I go live, I got a phone. I have a phone. I have a Magic Jack. I'm going to connect it to a phone with a speaker. So if people want to call in and discuss what's happening in their area in regards to the housing market, I would be more than happy to do that. I want to send out a plug to the Lost Canuck, Mario DeSetis. He's got a really good channel. He's boots on the ground, guys. He's boots on the ground. He is out east in Barrie, Ontario, and he's covering the whole Barrie all the way to south to Niagara Falls, covering Toronto, Brampton, Oakville, Mississauga. He's looking at what's happening with... he's looking at a lot of things. He's on boots on the ground. He understands what's happening in the market. He's awake. He understands. A lot of us are in these positions where we want to wake people up. We want people to understand that we don't want you to misappropriate your funds or your life savings, or, start buying tulip bulbs when the fad's coming to an end. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know your history. So that's Mario DeSetis. He's on the ground. He's posting pretty much every day. And he's got really good feedback here from... So, look, somebody even commented here. Too late, already happening. You might as well plant the tulip bulbs. So, it's a thing that's happened, and a lot of people are going... Lots of good comments here, guys, on his channel. If you want to join and see what he's got going on and what he's talking about, Mario DeSetis, Lost Canuck, really recommend you watch him. Let's move on. We got another newcomer. This is Rebecca Lang, and she's out in Toronto too, and she's in the Toronto, Woodbine, Richmond Hill, I guess, area there, Thornhill area, and she's got some pretty good videos too, discussing what's happening out east in the housing market. She's got a lot of good comments on her page here, and she does work in the real estate market, so she on the ground understanding what the real estate market is happening. She's actually telling it how it is, which is really good, and not sugarcoating anything, just getting to the point pretty much, and warning people of dangers. And let's continue here. I also want to do a plug for my opening a new shop. Is gaining a lot of ground. So I took this decrepit old building, and my whole family, we're all working on it to basically put the shop together. We're going to open a tabletop game store selling board games and stuff like I do in Vancouver. And we're also going to open a Filipino food mart for my wife. So we're working on this project together and see how it goes. Don't forget to tune in to Opening a New Shop from Scratch, Family at Work. Anyway, so let's get to the trends in the housing market. And things aren't looking good right now in Vancouver. A lot of the articles coming out are pretty much warning people of what's happening. Kind of wanting to educate people. But it's like right now people are in a position where they're getting an alarm for their car after their car has been stolen. So they're kind of in a bad situation right now where it's like, what do I do now? If you own, you want to sell. And if you're waiting on the sidelines, you want to buy. It's, like I said, a tug of war. And it's definitely, you're seeing two sides happening right now in the media. So let's go to risky mortgages, shadow bankers threaten Vancouver housing market stability. We've been following this for a long time now. This is a two-part series. I'm not going to read the whole article because it's very long. This is the article right here. So if you want to grab it, it's really good. It's a two-part series. Massive and risky home loans are increasing in numbers across Metro Vancouver, while mortgage fraud cases are also on the rise, connected to the growth of the so-called shadow banking. A post-media investigation shows the trend of increasingly risky loans underlying Metro Vancouver's high home prices is illustrated by Bank of Canada figures that show the rapid growth since 2014 of large mortgages made to people with relatively low incomes. This is a growing danger for Vancouver's real estate market because under the new tighter lending standards introduced for banks in fall 2016. The Bank of Canada says that many of these big mortgages can no longer be insured and won't be issued again by federally regulated lenders. So there's a lot of people that are taking on mortgages and debt that they can't afford to service. See, when people tell me, oh, poor boy, moved to Merritt, can't afford a house in Surrey or Langley. No. When I buy a house, I intend to pay it off. Whether it's in full or I pay it off in a couple of years. I don't want to live in a mortgage. Do you know what mortgage means in the French language? Mortgage in French means death grip. You can't travel. You got this overhead over you. You think a mortgage is an overhead? It's an overhead. Why? Because then you got property taxes. You got it because you're renting. It's okay, but once you own, you got the responsibilities of property taxes, all the maintenance to the home, so the value doesn't fall. There's a lot involved, and it's easier if your place is free and clear, and you pay off your place. Death grip. That's what I'm saying is a mortgage in French means death grip. And that's a good name for it. A result for tighter federal lending rules, borrowers trying to buy million-dollar-plus properties in Vancouver's market are increasingly taking out dangerous loans from shadow bankers in fast-growing and poorly regulated financing market. This is the trend. This is when you start to see the markets start to tank. When you start getting riskier loans, high loan to values. I mean, I could picture the underwriters in the back room or in their head offices laughing at the deal like, this guy's gonna default in 3 months, and they're laughing, you know? And a good underwriter would look at the deal proposed by the lender and look at it and say, oh God, look at this. How can he pay this? Approve it, who cares? Let it go. And somebody just commented, borrower is a slave to the lender. That's right. We don't live in a time of slavery anymore, but we do live in a slavery of debt, modern day slavery. And I talk about that on my Portuguese channel. Long story, but modern day slavery is what I talk about. So this is what's happening. It's a two-part series. It's long. I really recommend for you guys to go ahead. Yeah, look at this. Incomes don't match property values. For Hillard Macbeth, an Albertan-based author and wealth manager, the Bank of Canada loan risk statistics and the regulated growth of shadow banking in Vancouver and Toronto herald a crisis. These properties in Vancouver are so expensive that you need people either laundering money or loan fraud or people borrowing such large amounts of money that should never be allowed. In order to keep it going, exactly, they gotta find, then they get desperation. They gotta keep it going. Macbeth said, if everyone is reporting their incomes honestly in Vancouver, there is no way the housing price could stay where they are. So like I said, look at this part. We have experienced an increase in mortgage broker complaints in the last few years. Chris Carter, acting Register of Mortgage Brokers, confirmed about a third of investigations relate to application fraud. That's huge. Like I said, they're fudging the numbers. They're not helping the customer. The person might have 2-3 kids, working like a slave, wants to get into their first home, and you lie. If you lie, you know what I'm saying? it's bad. It's really bad. And I'll tell you why. Because you get this guy, you know, husband and wife or whatever the situation is, with a couple of kids. They want to lay roots. They want to lay the Canadian dream. It's like, it's really hard. You know what I'm saying? So this is somewhat of a big problem that's happening, and too many people can't. And then I can picture the underwriter. The underwriters are really good. They could look at a deal and tell you if it's going to fall apart in 6 months or a year. I used to know one underwriter who was really good at forecasting a deal. Deal would be sent to the head office. He would look at the deal. He would show me. He goes, "Look at this, Mike. This is the gap. This is the inquiries. This is what he's got going on. This is his income. Let's look at his TDS." So we look at the TDS. Okay, so basically they would look at me and say, "Okay, Mike, how's this guy buying food? You know, how is this man buying food?" Then you look at it, and then I'm like, "Yeah, we're missing the car insurance. We're missing home insurance. We're missing a lot." He's like, "Yeah." So people are living way beyond their means. Next article. So people are allowed to comment. Tokyo real estate man is allowed to, you know, he's got point of views. He's allowed to disagree, and that's okay. That's okay. Everyone's allowed to bring in their points to the table, because sometimes it adds a good discussion. It can't be one-sided. We need people to discuss. I need people to tell me I'm wrong. I need people to tell me that I'm out of my mind, that I have no idea what I'm talking about. And then they would comment and tell me why. Then we could read their points out live. Then I could call them out and say, this is what someone's saying and this is what someone's thinking. Because we need to discuss. We need to go against the grain once in a while. We need to go against the tide to be able to create a positive discussion or a proper discussion that's going to get people understanding different points of views from different parts of the world, right? Now, this one struck me. I saw this one. I'm like, a third of Vancouver commercial real estate sales were residential land. Commercial real estate is making a return to new heights in Vancouver, Altus Group says. A commercial real estate data provider released the first quarter of 2017 status. Numbers show that a total number of deals are on the decline, but the increased property values sent the dollar volume to a new high. Total of a number of transactions down. The first quarter of 2017 saw a rise in commercial transaction. Altus found 498 commercial sales, an 8% increase from last quarter. It's still down 42% from a record high set second quarter of 2016. The firm notes only 5 quarters in history have above 500, so it's still pretty decent considering how much land values have increased. So here's the graph right here. Property transactions, all sectors by quarter. And there's the quarters right here. So you basically get a graph. Total dollar value of investment increase. Total dollar value in commercial sales increase for the first quarter of 2017 by a lot. Total sales reached $3.4 billion, an increase of 32%. From the previous quarter, this is also a 25% increase from the same quarter last year, just 9% below the record. The record for commercial real estate investment was the second quarter of 2016, in case you're curious. This is huge. Very important, because you're seeing this trend happening now in commercial real estate. Now, I'm not going to read this one, but I'm just going to shout this one out. I did this in 4 trends in the marketing. I did read this one. I got a comment here. Buying a home back in the 1980s, all you had to do was work very hard, then put down a down payment. In Vancouver, some are working very hard but still can't afford to buy a house. Things sure have changed. That's by Wise Men. Wise Men comments a lot on my thing. So, Real Name is commented. Real Name comments a lot too. NDP is supposed to start doing things about things to housing, right? Okay, well, I'm looking for articles on that too. I've been actually trying to dig anything that is comprehensive to what's happening, and I'm not finding anything concrete that's worth mentioning. If anyone gets links, please send them to me. Follow me on Instagram, message me. I get tons of people messaging me on Instagram. You can go to the top of the page on YouTube. You can find me on my fan page, and you can message me on there. It will auto respond in Portuguese. Don't freak out, okay? So it's just an auto respond, and I'll get the message. Someone's commenting here: is a housing crisis when no one can afford, or when everyone is upside down? Okay, well, if we wanted to see, I'll give you an example here. I'm going to pull this up here real quick for you guys. And I'm going to go to images. Okay. I'm showing you this because I want you guys to see a car version of the housing crisis. This, my friends, is a 1982 Volkswagen Scirocco. I think it's book valued at $800. It probably needs a bunch of work, technically, right? Now, this is what I want to tell you guys here. Are you going to pay Lamborghini price for a Volkswagen 82 Scirocco that's worth $800? That's what's happening in the housing market. People are taking Lamborghini, Ferrari pricing and paying it for that. If the car market, if the housing market, if the car market was like the housing market, people would be paying these ridiculous prices for these old cars. And everyone would see it as, oh, well, yeah, well, that's what it's worth. Is this car worth Lamborghini price to you? Would you pay $300 large for this 1982 Volkswagen Scirocco? I mean, it's got nice paint, but would you pay that much? I think not. And that's what people need to wake up to. Who wants to buy a house for $1 million? $1 million is a mansion, not a house. $1 million is a maison. It's a mansion. $1 million is a ranch. $1 million is a farm. $1 million is a high-end cottage. $1 million is a plantation. $1 million is not a house, because you still have to work really hard for $1 million. So let me close my 1982 Volkswagen Scirocco page to give you guys an understanding. Someone's telling me Portugal won today. Yes, in soccer against Russia. Someone's commenting, Jonathan Bonilla, saying, we sold our house in the GTA and now our neighborhood has many for sale signs and none are selling. The market is worse than the media says it is. Jonathan, my brother, get on the streets. Get your camera out. Film yourself. Film yourself. Show us what's going on. Show us the houses for sale. I need some boots in the ground. Film yourself. Do a shout out to me. Send me a link to the video. Then I'll put you in my housing crisis thing on YouTube so people could see your video too. Interesting that Vancouver, so Joe Beaver is saying, interesting that Vancouver is starting to heat up again around the time the 15% style tax was implemented in Ontario. Areas such as Markham, Richmond Hill have seen the biggest hit. All right, let's continue. So this one here, this article here, I read, and it's been reworded, I guess. Vancouver housing crisis worse on virtually every level, says former UN investigator. So this is some guy that came 10 years ago and was hoping that the housing crisis would change, and 10 years ago it was out of control. Now he came back 10 years later and he can't believe what he saw. Here's another one that I recommend for you guys to read. These are long reads, so I'm not reading these. Housing crisis eating away at heart of Metro Vancouver. So what's happening is time is going by. 5 years goes by like this. 5 years. Everyone gets 5 years older, and they're still not living the Canadian dream. Someone commented here, I could buy almost 3 nice houses in Winnipeg for $1 million. Of course you can. You know why? Because that's what a house is worth. 350 grand, 400 large for a nice house. And people are forgetting. They're miswording. When you look at Google and you look at the articles, they call them luxury mansions for sale in Vancouver. This 4-bedroom, 3-bath. That's not a luxury mansion. I'm sorry if I'm stepping on your toes. It's not a luxury mansion. A luxury mansion is $1 million. It has a pool, has an indoor pool, has an outdoor pool. It has 7-8 bedrooms. It has 5 bathrooms. It has a pool house, a little pool house in case you have a maid or something. That's a luxury mansion, not a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house. Let me continue here. This one I found digging through articles is from June 18. Foreign investors ignoring Calgary, Montreal real estate markets. So the trend, a lot of people saw the migration of investors moving north to Calgary and north to Montreal. And John Kay just said this crisis is not normal. It's a major one that people are trying to ignore. I don't think a lot of people are ignoring the problem. I think because it's affecting their rents, and I think it's affecting a lot of other problems in people's personal lives. I think what it's creating a form of depression that we're starting to see in more people, because when I went downtown a few days ago just to do some business, drove downtown, met up with a few people, had a coffee and stuff. And the amount of people talking to themselves, the amount of people that you could tell that are troubled, the amount of people, I'm not talking about homeless people, I'm just talking about just plain Jane people just going to work and doing their thing. And, it hurts when you see a lot of people who are just displaced with themselves. And it has a lot to do with the cost of living. The cost of living is just destroying people inside. It's ripping people apart. There is a huge silent majority that feel that raising minimum wage, I don't think will solve the problem, because it's just going to raise the price on products, right? We are a consumer. We are a nation of consumers. We consume things, right? And anyways, let's look at this article. It's from the Globe and Mail. Calgary has a glut of unsold condos. So people, if you are looking to relocate, go to Calgary. Calgary's nice. It's cowboy. It's got a pretty cool winter, cold winter. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty cold. But it's nice. Buy a nice pickup. Maybe buy something out of the major city, outside, 20 minutes out. Settle down a bit. Calgary's good. Calgary, if you're doing in the tech industry and you could work from home, or if you're working selling from home, or go to Calgary and work, Calgary has a glut of unsold condos. So earlier this year, with a tax on foreign buyers in Vancouver and another looming in Toronto, the real estate developer Brad Lamp decided to take a chance on China. Sales representative with Jowie.com, Chinese real estate portal, had been presenting Mr. Lamp to advertise with him. He posted listings for developments in Calgary and Edmonton to see if he could drum up foreign interest. I gotta tell you, it's been a gigantic waste of time, said Mr. Lam, founder of Lam Development Corporation. Mr. Lam had a long-standing suspicion confirmed that the Chinese buyers prefer dealing with Chinese brokers. But on top of that, it reinforced fundamental differences between Canada's second tier of real estate markets. And Vancouver and Toronto, foreign investors just aren't that into Calgary. They'll have their kick at Montreal and maybe Calgary, but they'll never be as big as Vancouver and Toronto. So this is so somebody's commenting here the 2 jobs nowadays to pay off the rent. Yeah, covering rent. I gotta put a lot of emphasis on the R when I say it. 2 jobs, and you're probably thinking, yeah, this guy's buying a space shuttle or something. 30 years ago, when you're telling people you're working 2 jobs, they're like, whoa, what are you doing? Buying a cottage and the boat at the same time? No, it's 2 jobs to pay rent. So those cities have their attractions, less expensive, direct flights to China, post-secondary schools, hospitable to foreign students. So they're talking about Toronto and Vancouver. But that the relatively small Asian communities, and they are not the lucrative speculative investments Vancouver and Toronto have been. Montreal has added a hurdle of requiring 2 languages for full engagement into economic civic life. Recently, Montreal, some real estate brokers were excited to report foreign buyers were helping move downtown condos and million-dollar homes to Westmount and the West Island, market segments that had long languished. So, while the Montreal market is hot for Montreal, a couple of points. We mentioned this last week. And so far, there is little evidence of speculative bubble or kind of influx for foreign buyers that could inflate one. I mean, why would they want to? This is a long article, so I'm leaving this for you guys to read if you want. It's a really good article. Foreign investors ignoring Calgary, Montreal real estate markets. I kind of was thinking the trend was going to move to Montreal. I guessed right on Seattle. Like, I was like dead to rights. I was like right on, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so Walking Journeys commenting. I really want you guys to check out his channel. It's called Walking Journeys. My friend Anthony down in Texas. And he said, I never got a notification for the live stream. Unbelievable. Well, you know what? I'm not that popular. You know, I just have a small group of people. We're almost like a discussion session here. That, you know, it's a small group discussing, reading off the comments and just going as we go. Going with the flow, you know what I'm saying? But I got to say this again. 2 jobs to pay rent. I don't know how people see this as normal. I don't know how people see this as something that it is what it is. How can this be is what it is? I can understand, I'm going to work a second job on the weekends. I want to buy a car. I want to work a second job on the weekends. I want to travel the world. I want to get a job on the weekends. No, I want to get a second job to pay rent. Oh, okay. Walking Journeys commenting. Thanks, Mike, for starting a business serious. You inspired me, Mike, and I started a business just today. Well, congrats, brother. Make sure you document it on your channel to get other people inspired into living the dream like me. You know what I'm saying? Maria Gee said, I put down 10K. She put down 10 large down on a house 18 years ago in Surrey. Now you need 120 large plus to put down. 120 large to put down. The average working class Canadian can't do it. I mean, I'm not saying you can. I'm not trying to, put trying to put rain on your parade. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to tell you straight up. It's really hard to do something like that. And then back again to Canadian government is now warning household debt will shatter records. People, this is not a record we want to shatter. People, this is not a record we want to be proud of. You know what I'm saying? So someone is commenting, Wiseman's commenting. So Maria actually commented first. She's saying, we are not meant to work all the time. Of course we're not meant to work all the time. We're human beings. We're made of, how do you say in English? Meat and bone. You know what I'm saying? We're meat and bone. That's what we are. And, And then you have wise men saying, I know this one girl that works 2 jobs to have a car. That makes sense. Okay, so that's taking a step back from rent. So it's like 2 jobs to have a car. Is it wise men? Can you comment below and let me know if it's an 82 Volkswagen Scirocco? And yes, and have to pay carbon tax. Someone else commented. Look at this, people. Better Dwelling commenting. Again, June 21st, 2017. Another government organization is tattling on Canadian debt problems. The Parliamentary Budget Officer, PBO, the organization that provides independent financial analysis to the Canadian Parliament, released a report on household indebtedness. The report outlines how deep Canada's household debt problem is and is projecting it will get worse fast. The one thing that scares the crap out of me, that scares the crap out of me big time, is when people go into those payday loans or rain day loans or temporary loans or $400 that don't pay it back till Friday. I'm really scared of those things, guys. I really recommend to not get them because you're going to be a lot worse off. I know of a couple that have 16 of them. That's how bad things have gotten. So, please, I'm begging you, kneeling on the ground in raggedy clothes, do not apply for those payday loans. Those get cash. Unless you could pay it by Friday. If you're stuck, you got an unexpected repair, something happens, your basement's flooded. If you get a payday loan, pay it on Friday when you get paid. Don't hold on to these things. The interest rates are beyond what you could ever imagine. It's worse than a loan shark. Anyways. Old news. We know the household debt. This one. Everyone's talking about interest rates going up. Yes, so okay. So the car that Wise Man's friend owns is 2012. Okay, so it's not a Volkswagen Scirocco. Anyways, Jonathan Bonilla saying the only reason many seem well off is because of their home equity loans. Their homes are their ATM machines. Exactly. Just like what's happening in Sydney and Melbourne. A lot of people have been riding this coattails of the housing market for the last 10 years. And they got these ATM machines. And their house value goes up $200-300 a day. For a couple of years, in those 10 years, housing prices went up $200-300 a day. You know, this is government. So this is the interest rates. A lot of people are commenting on my channel, discussing, hey, interest rates are going to go up. Watch what happens. Watch what happens. Well, government of Canada doesn't expect interest rates to rise until 2018, when the United States of America has already issued 2 rate hikes. Despite the hawkish tone from Bank of Canada, Parliament is feeling a little more dovish. I like how they used to use words so you think you know what they're talking about, because I have no idea what the hell that means. So you kind of feel like you know. Anyways, you're in the know, you know. 1 week after the central bank hinted at a possibility of raising interest rates, the Office of the Parliamentary Budget Officer, PBO, has released its projections. Looks like they don't see interest rates moving higher until next year. What does this mean for the economy, people? That's my interpretation of a flat line. Or economy. Why? Because housing is tied to the majority of Canada's economy is based and backed on housing. Not production of airplanes, not producing cars and exporting, not making alternators for cars and air conditioning systems. I mean, some is made in Canada, but I mean, it's not mass produced like it used to be in the 80s and 90s. So again, Jonathan Bonilla is saying, someone's asking, how's the job market in the GTA? Does it justify the boom? Then he was replying by saying, jobs are okay. Not a lot of unemployment, but there is no wage increase that can justify the boom. Yeah. So what does that mean? You have been officially bought out of the market. Oh, but I'm a family physician. I thought being a doctor was the cream of the crop, the top of the ceiling. I rain down and protect my patients. No, it's getting to a point where people with high salaries can't even afford to buy. Let's move on. So interest rates look like the projections. They don't anticipate the rise of interest rates until 2018. They believe it will hit a normal or neutral level of 3% by mid-2020. This would mean an average rate hike of over 0.31% per quarter. The only way they could fix this and actually make it go up that much by 2020, and I'll tell you guys, and I'll go on record for this, 3% interest rates will only work if they bring in a ton load of rich immigrants from all over the world, like people from Iran, getting people from rich people from Iraq, rich people from the Middle East, people from China, rich people from Tokyo. The only way Canada has to advertise itself, people need to advertise themselves. Canada needs to advertise itself as a luxury play area for the rich and stuff. That's what Canada needs to start doing. If they want to get interest rates to 3%, they need to start bringing in more extremely rich people, filthy rich people, that could help with bringing this and adjusting it because they could afford that rate. You see what I'm saying? The common Canadian is totally bought out. The Canadian proper is bought out big time. Let's keep going. Toronto house prices have already fallen 12% from their peak. Yeah. Toronto house prices have already fallen 12% from their peak, people. And it says it could soon be a buyer's market. A slowdown in Greater Toronto housing market this spring appears to be more than a 1-month blip. Uh-oh. Sales in the country's largest housing market have fallen by half compared to the same period a year earlier, according to the Real Estate Board. Data obtained by Bloomberg. The Toronto Real Estate Board counted 2,999 sales in the first 2 weeks of June, while the new listing jumped 22%. Wow, look at Toronto's all condo skylines. When I was a kid, I used to live by Dufferin and St. Clair area, and I could see the CN Tower at night, like the lights. And from Dufferin and St. Clair, you could see the CN Tower from the top of the hill there on Dufferin. And now, I mean, it's just, you don't even see 2 blocks down now with the amount of buildings and construction that's been built around the CN Tower. Oh, okay, so Jonathan Bonilla, I need you to be on the ground for me, bud. Get out there with your camera, make some videos, put a shout out to me. Mike Martin's channel. I'll put you in the whole trailer of videos that I have from people from all over the place making real estate videos. He's saying City TV News said that many are trying to back out of their deposits due to buyer's remorse. Yeah, you're seeing that big time. So let's continue here. So this is a really hot article, so let's get to it. Wow, the average selling price for properties was still up by 6.7% from a year ago. It's down from the peak it hit in April. Last month, before the Ontario government announced tougher new housing regulations, including a 15% foreign buyers tax, the average price is 808 large. In early June, is down from a peak of 920 large. This is horrible. In April, a decline of more than 12% in a few months' time. Wow. So I gotta wet my beak here. Yeah, Maria J. Thanks for joining us tonight. She's saying things have sure changed in Toronto. All of the King and Queen and Dundas College are all condos. Yeah. That's where it's going to. Let's look at that. Well, some observers expect the market to bounce back. Thanks to a strong demand and lack of supply, many analysts are looking at the situation and seeing a major turnaround in the cards. I mean, what the hell would a poker, like, let's say the housing market was like, it's just like poker, it's gambling, right? What do you think a card player is going to be sitting at the table with the worst cards in his hand, and he's looking at it, and he's looking at the pot, and he's looking at it, he's got nothing left. This is not good. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people want to cash in. A lot of people want to fold right now. It looks like someone turned off the overheat switch in Toronto's housing market. RBC senior economist Robert Hodge wrote on a client note earlier this month. So, looking at the data from May, Hodge estimated that Toronto's ratio of sales to new listings fell 40% in May. The threshold was for what is considered a buyer's market, where purchasers rather than sellers have the upper hand. What a difference a couple of months make, Hodge commented. In a couple of months, the provincial government announced a slate of new housing rules designed to cool off rapidly growing house prices and improve affordability in the rental market. The 16 measures include a tax meant to discourage speculative property buying by foreigners and an expansion of Ontario's rent control laws. But some market observers have suggested that the market was already beginning to slow when Premier Kathleen Wayne's rules came into effect. Some note that the tighter mortgage qualification rules implemented last fall by the federal government were already starting to bite. Forecast of soft landing. Hodge is quick to stress that these changing conditions in the market doesn't necessarily signal a housing crash. Even if Toronto moved into buyer's market territory, this would not signal an imminent price collapse. It would in part simply be a reflection of changing sales tactics in the face of more patient buyers. The RBC economist forecast the next phase in the market will be a soft landing rather than a hard landing. Wow. That's huge. You know what I'm saying? So what Toronto's average house price? Wow. They have palm trees in Toronto? I never knew they had palm trees there. I know they have palm trees in Vancouver. I've never seen palm trees in Toronto. They have some shrubs and palm trees here in Merritt, but because it's a desert belt I live in. All right, let's move on. Back again, housing. I'm focusing on Toronto so you guys understand that this might happen and trickle to other bigger cities. So someone's commenting here, dovish means lowering rates. No, it's comparing Miami to Toronto, those prices. $1 million palm tree. Xavier Del Bruno said. Bunono, sorry. Okay, let's keep moving here. Housing, Market Street. Toronto's soaring housing market is a defining moment, and record high home costs are probably maneuvering again from April to May, says one Toronto real estate agent. So this is what I read in the last thing. Let's get to... Okay, this part here. Additionally, the sales of homes in the market are expected to experience a 19% decline on all home types in the GTA, while other home types will see more declines in comparison to condos. So, however, the best thing that could happen in the market is that the home prices will surely make a recovery. But this can only be determined by the reaction of both buyers and sellers to this new market trend, and if this has to happen, the market will remain stabilized for the rest of the year. So let's keep moving here. So Huge problem. I had someone from UMass. For those that don't know, it's the University of Massachusetts. Send me this article. It's from the Boston Business, Boston Globe. And will housing prices push young workers out of Boston? So there was someone talking about the housing market problems happening in Massachusetts, in the Boston area. And they showed a clip of my video about the Vancouver brain drain, how the young tech workers, people in important positions, even doctors, can't afford to own or live, or being pushed out because of high prices. Well, they showed a clip of my video on there, which was really good, and started piquing the interest for people living in the Massachusetts. So they sent me this article asking me to read it if it's okay, and I said sure. So, will housing prices push young workers out of Boston? Moving to a cheaper neighborhood, downsizing to a smaller apartment, piling in with more roommates. Those are the steps young adults have long taken to live in Boston's pricey housing markets. But what happens when that gets old, when the huge population of millennials want to settle down and spread out? Will they have to leave Massachusetts? That is the question raised by a new survey of millennials from the Boston Foundation that found more than 70% are dissatisfied with the local housing market. The study raises the prospect of the region losing a crucial portion of its workforce. See, they're addressing this now because they know if once they start losing doctors, plastic surgeons, they start losing important, crucial technical workers like welders and plumbers and electricians that keep the infrastructure going. It's a problem. You know what I'm saying? The study raises the prospect of the region losing crucial portion of its workforce as they get to the age where they want kids and financial stability that comes with home ownership. It's the American dream. Our future prosperity depends in no small part of our ability to support our millennial population, said Boston Foundation President Paul Gorgan. While our city is thriving in many ways, this survey of young adults in Boston surfaces some deep anxieties. So, first among them is the cost of living here. Despite the addition of thousands of new apartments largely aimed at younger renters, millennials surveyed by the Boston Foundation ranked housing affordability as their biggest concern about life in Boston. Many of those apartments are expensive studios, $2,500 a month. A month are par for the course. The new supply is being to curb rents, but has done little to ease the home ownership market, where historically low inventory has driven prices steadily upward. So this is it, guys. A long article, but it's really good. I don't think anyone likes paying more for housing, Grayson said, but it seems to be a choice people keep wanting to make. Again, people are overpaying for the Volkswagen Scirocco. They're paying Lamborghini prices for a Volkswagen Scirocco. So let's continue. Seattle. Let's get the champagne, pop a cork. Let's get some confetti. Seattle makes list of housing markets with a big increase in the number of $1 million homes. Wow. Look at that. It's in the list. Denver, Colorado's moving up. All these cities on this map, people. Take a look at this article. It's from yesterday. Take a look at it. It's really good. And it's showing you top 10 cities where $1 million listings have skyrocketed. A home is not supposed to be $1 million. Once again, a home is a home. It's not supposed to, it's not supposed to be $1 million. So, yeah. Let's continue here. With a shortage of available homes for sale and bidding wars driving up the price on whatever does hit the market, Seattle is part of an exclusive list of cities boasting a large increase in its share of million-dollar listings. According to new data from Realtor.com, the share of homes listed for $1 million and over is steadily on the rise across the United States. And it has increased from 3.2% to 4.3% from the first quarter to 2014 to the first quarter of 2017. Seattle ranks 8th among 10 cities with the biggest percentage gain. The city saw its 1 million plus homes in 2017 rise 7.7%, up 2.4% from 2014. Realtor.com says Seattle tech, wealthy, and global affluent population is on the rise, and good deals are being snatched up in a hurry. So this is a really good article. Realtor.com ranked more than 900 metropolitan areas as a part of its data research, focusing on growth, not just luxury. This ruled out places that were already super rich, such as Aspen, Colorado, and for geographical diversity, the list was also limited to 2 metros in every state. So they kept it fair, they kept it balanced, which is really good. There's a really good article. I really wanted to share this with you guys because it gives you a broad aspect of what's happening. There's Boston, Massachusetts, we were just talking about. There's South Carolina, Charleston, Fredericksburg, Texas. Wow, Fredericksburg, Texas? Really? That's deep in the heart of Texas. Santa Fe? I never thought Santa Fe would be up there too. Wow. Denver, of course. Boulder. I could see Boulder up there too. Heber, Utah. Interesting. And then there's Santa Rosa, California. Anyways, let's move on. This one was actually sent to me from a journalist down in Sacramento. Wanted me to read this on the show or mention it on the show. It's from the Sacramento Bee. Think rent is high in California. Here's why it's probably going to get higher. So rents right now are out of control. I recommend people to watch this video. It's called California's Housing Crisis. The hardest part is living with someone who I don't even know. If you are a renter in California concerned about the high cost of living here or looking to purchase your first home, your prospects aren't looking up. Projections show rents will continue to surge, especially for low to middle income people in places like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Sacramento. And home prices will become increasingly expensive according to an economic analysis in the Anderson Forecast from the University of California, Los Angeles, released this month. It's already bad before it's getting worse, said David Schulman, a senior economist for the Anderson Forecast. California is still attracting high-income people who are creating an enormous amount of wealth, but low-middle-income people like teachers are leaving because housing has become extraordinarily expensive. Yes, it said teachers. People that educate our kids. Who are they going to come and who are they going to replace these people with? It gets to the right here. Right here. Now, a series of bills in the legislator that would establish an ongoing source of funding for housing and ease the permanent process for new construction appears headed for high-stakes legislative test in coming months. Brown is again saying any deal must include the changes he is seeking. So this is a big problem. Another thing that's happening in California that people are in Los Angeles, LA County, that people want me to mention on the show is I'll do a show on my rants and lifestyle on maybe this Friday if I'm not tired about converting bike lanes or converting major freeways in the United States, in California, into bike lanes. And that's happening, and it's peeing off a lot of people. So let's move on. Thank you for that one from the Sacramento Bee. So Q1 sales records. This is from June 21st. $1 million California home sets Q1 sales records. Again, first quarter. Rising stock prices contribute to sales of 10,562 California homes valued $1 million or more during the first quarter this year. That represents year-over-year increase of 11.7%. Woo! And sets a new record for $1 million home sales in the first quarter. Wow. Let me just wet my beak here. Sales of homes valued $2 million or more rose to 2,523 in the first quarter, up 11.8%. Also a new record for first quarter sales. In addition to rising stock prices, which generally make buyers feel wealthier and encourage investment to real estate, job growth in California and improved consumer confidence are among the drivers of luxury home sales, according to the CoreLogic. Good article. I'll leave it. That's what it is if you want to read it. Financial Times. London housing crisis comes back to the fore again. Pray for the souls that were lost in this building. The Grenfell Tower should prompt a radical policy overhaul. The reason why I'm bringing this one up is because in this area specifically, there's about 8 or 9 blocks in the area that all have to be checked for fire code and fire up to code, bringing things up to code. And I just wanted to share this with you guys. Pray for the people here. It's a tragedy, and apparently they're finding homes for the people that have lost their homes. Losing everything in a fire is horrendous. It's like if you feel bad when you lose your cell phone and you lose all your contacts, picture that times 1,000, losing everything you have. Let's continue. Someone sent me this from Denmark. Denmark nears a housing market crisis milestone as deals test to 2006 high. Denmark is experiencing this too. Danes are buying and selling homes at the fastest pace in 2006, when the frantic pace of deals was followed by the worst property market crash in a generation. This time, historically low interest rates rather than speculation are fueling the development. Denmark's schematic risk council said on Wednesday, the government is already tightening mortgage lending guidelines, but more may be needed, it said. So, again, buying and selling and flipping properties. It comes to this right here, this part. Data compiled by Denmark's Strategic Risk Council suggests that there continues to be a buildup of risks in the Copenhagen area, it said. Market participation still expect very low rates for a long period, both in Denmark and Europe, it said. So, free money. Ponzi, Ponzi, Ponzi. I smell a scheme. Low money, free money. Now let's go back to the Australian Business Review. Sydney housing in crisis, survey finds. It's from yesterday. I like how they say unoverwhelming. If you can see the spelling there, it's all one word. An overwhelming majority of Sydney-siders said housing affordability is at a crisis level in the city, according to research commissioned by the Property Council of Australia ahead of tomorrow's and New South Wales budget. And most Sydney residents are in favor of government action to boost housing supply, the survey has found. Yeah, but you got 100,000 empty homes. Okay, build more homes. Okay, build more homes, but they're all empty. When you got, what, 80,000, how many homes are empty in Sydney? 80,000, 90,000 empty homes in Sydney? Come on, give me a break. I would say rent them out to people that need a place to live, and then start easing cooling the market down a bit in a gradual way. I think one way to help cool the market to a nice gradual descent is to start renting out these properties, these empty homes. This will allow more people to move to the city, because you got, what, 90,000 empty homes in Sydney. How many doctors are you losing out? How many teachers are you losing out? This will attract people to come in. Hey, this house was empty for 10 years. Okay, let's rent it out. You know what I'm saying? So, the community understands that housing supply is critical. We simply must build more homes to meet the demand in growing a global city. I call bullcrap on this article, sorry. Find a way to fix the empty home issue. because then that will attract more people to move to the city if there's more rentals available. Housing crisis, household debt sees Australians banking downgraded again, once again. I discussed this, what was it, 8 weeks ago in Trends in the Housing Market, that Australian banks are being downgraded. You know, and Parliament Building Society, the Permanent Building Society went from A3 to A2, while Heritage Bank Members Equity, Q2 Mutual, Teachers Mutual, Victoria Teachers Mutual, and Credit Union went from an A3 to a BAA1. Not looking good. Looks like rates are going to go up. Now, this is New Zealand. Prime Minister spoke of housing crisis in 2010. This article is from a few days back. So look at this, people living like this, and the premier of the Prime Minister. I'll read the article. It says Prime Minister Bill English said privately 7 years ago, a housing crisis was looming in Auckland. A senior Salvation Army official says. Major Campbell reports in 2010, Mr. English, the finance minister, told him he feared a crisis on the horizon. But as Prime Minister, Mr. English has constantly said in the public, there is no housing crisis. And where's the part I wanted to read here? I gotta find a way to... So basically, New Zealand has per capita the most expensive housing prices by far. New Zealand, I read an article a few months back, and it was nuts. The article was 40 people to a home, or 55 or 40 or 38 people living in a home in New Zealand, and two people living in the home. One was a school teacher. I mean, can you imagine rotations and sleeping and bunks, and then like it's real. It's like 40 people to a home in New Zealand. New Zealand is in a lot of trouble, and now with this cooling of the southern hemisphere and the early winters they're having, it's really hard for people living in tents, people living in people's backyards and stuff. It's becoming a problem, a big problem in the southern hemisphere. And when people know that there's going to be a housing crisis looming, or they could feel it happening, I mean, isn't it their job or their duty as a prime minister to step in and take action and put things in place to protect the citizens? You know? And then back again, Globe and Mail, vulnerability of in-debt households hit historic levels. Again, this is from June 20. The expected gradual rise of interest rates over the next few years is poised to push financial vulnerability in indebted Canadians' households well above levels seen in the last 3 decades, warns new analysis. This part right here I want to read to you guys. It predicts the household debt service ratio to reach 16.3% in 2021, which would be nearly 3.5% points higher than 12.9% average seen between 1990 and 2017. We are destined, people. This is not good. You know what I'm saying? Households that are required to devote substantial portion of their disposable income to service their debts are vulnerable to adverse income and interest rate shocks, and the more likely to be delinquent in their debt payment. This is horrible, people. This is. I wish I could paint the picture in a different light. You know what I'm saying? You know, I wish I could paint this in a completely different picture. So, you know, I'm trying to use the automobile as like, would you pay this much for an automobile that's rusted to the ground? No, but that's what you're doing with housing. I want people to see the big picture. I want people to understand that, I mean, a lot of people are super educated, you know what I'm saying? I have no education. I barely graduated from high school. I was on some work program. What do you call it? some work cooperative program because I wasn't good at school, so I was doing mechanic stuff and stuff because I don't you know, I'm just whatever, you know, some guy at the back of the class, right? But a lot of these people, I'm very disappointed in a lot of my school friends, school classmates, a lot of people that did really well and you know, went on to university and, you know, now they're in this living off the equity in their homes and riding off the coattails. I'm very disappointed in a lot of people and the choices they've made. You know, and these choices that they made. You know, there's a lot of comments going on here. Try and join me. I'm going to try and be live every Wednesday night for Trends in the Housing Market every Wednesday. Wednesday hump day. I'm going to try and do a Friday. A lot of people want me to do a lot of outside news talking about things happening with other news. And I don't want to get into political and too much war because there's a lot of channels doing that. I want to discuss just common sense things that are happening. People need to kind of, I don't know, put on their seatbelt and hold on for the ride because things are going to get pretty bumpy. I'll do that Friday nights for you guys if I can, if I'm not tired. Putting the store together, it's pretty much taking me out. Anyways, I'm going to leave you guys with this story here to read. I'm not going to read it because it's very long, but I really want you guys to read this. It's actually a really good story. It's called Praying for a Real Estate Crash. It's from June 16, 2017. The have-nots of housing are watching, mad as hell, as homeowners glory in their paper fortunes, and they're starting to lash out. I really want you guys to read this article when you get some time, maybe at work tomorrow. If you're at work and you got nothing to do, read this. This is really good. It starts off like a happily, you know, getting into the housing market, getting into this, and then being overcome with debt and stuff. So, it's from McLean's. I love McLean's. McLean's has some pretty good stuff out there. I wanted to send a big warm hug to everyone that's watching the show. I don't mind people going against the tide. We want to hear people who believe. I really want people to comment who believe that there's nothing wrong and the housing market is like the RMS Titanic. It's unsinkable. God himself couldn't sink that Titanic, but look what happened. I want people to comment that want to tell me or want to get a discussion going. I'm going to get a phone number for the show, and I got a speakerphone already set up. I want people to call in if they want while it's live. People need to understand there's a little bit of a lag between the YouTube stream and my me talking. So I'm going to be talking and you're going to be watching the show and you're not going to hear yourself talking. Don't panic. It's just a little bit of a lag. You know what I'm saying? So somebody wants me to talk about the New Zealand stocks. What's happening with New Zealand stocks, people? Is there something I need to know? Let's go to news. Ooh. I'm not allowed on this page? There we go. Australian shares fell on materials and financials. New Zealand extends losses. Uh-oh. You see that red? That's bad news. Australian shares tumbled on Wednesday as material stocks suffered due to slumping commodity prices while financial counters hit the one-week low. S&P and ASX, Australian Stock Exchange, 200 index was down 1.4%, 77.55 points to a 5,679 at 0329 GMT. The benchmark on Tuesday ended 0.8% lower. Oh, you want to talk about the short, the ETF and the EZL, like bubble. Oh yeah, these markets are all riding on bubbles. You know what I'm saying? The A Manzella, if you want me to send me a link there, just remove the .com at the back, and then I could just find it for you if there's a specific. Send me articles if you want me to read them. But this is definitely going to affect a lot, because a lot of these countries are. Okay, yeah, we're going back to people commenting on minimum wage goes up, grocery prices. Everybody suffers, right? Let's go here. Oh, Christ. Let's see what they have in the news for this. Oh, yeah. Woo! Yep. Oh, come. I don't want to subscribe. Let's see if we got... If anyone could give me something here. Oh, God. They give me all these... Active runner focus iShares MCN New Zealand capped ETF ENZL. So this is what's happening here. Moving on volatility at 0.70, 0.32 cents from the open. The NYSE listed company saw a recent bid of 45.20 and 12,892 shares have traded hands in the session. So I got to read this before the show because I could understand what the commodity channel index is commenting on this. It's been a trend. So if someone, okay, look at the 5-year chart. Okay, here we go. Come on. Oh, I'm getting Home Depot here. Let's look at find this chart here. It was a photo. Wow. Holy crap. Holy smokes. This is huge. I don't even know how to approach this, guys. This is actually pretty big. So it's a yield ratio. The yield is pretty high, but this is. So 2011 things started to go rough. 2012 things got rough, and then up into 2017. Yep, things aren't looking good, guys. Let me go back to the chat here. So this is a comparison here from the two. So I'm just trying to figure this out here. So guys, let me send me articles. Wow, there's a big graph here. Send me articles before the show starts because things are not looking good right now in the markets. I mean, I could do an entire show if you guys want about different markets and what's happening with these markets, because I know the American stock market's a huge bubble right now. It's just inflating like no one's business. Also, you got other markets right now that are pretty much riding off this bubble coattail, and I believe that everything we're seeing around us now is actually a bubble. Is actually a bubble. Everything except our wages. Anyways, guys, all right, I'll give it one more chance. Google Finance. All right, let's do this. Search finance. See if I get something here, guys, for you guys here. Here we go. Holy smokes. Let's look at the 5-year here. It's not giving me a full screen here. So it was coming up and it's dipping down here and it's going down. Oh yeah, it's definitely on a decline. Let's check a 5-day trend. Oh, look at the 5-day trend on this thing. It's something we're gonna watch closely here on the channel. Here, iShares look like they're basically driving this market. Look at that. Let's move into 3 months. Yeah, you could see a huge dip coming. Could it weather the storm? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We'll see what happens, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm falling asleep. Thanks for watching Trends in the Housing Market. Big warm hug to everyone. And I'll try and come back on Friday for Rants and Lifestyle, talking about some of this bull crap that's happening on Earth and everything that's happening to us. And yeah, some people are commenting. I don't see a lot of chatter in Auckland. Yeah, Auckland's a big problem right now. Auckland's a mess. Empty homes everywhere. A lot of the brain drain. A lot of people moving to mainland Australia because they can't find work in New Zealand. I mean, because they can't live close to work in New Zealand. So they're moving to Australia for better prosperities. Anyways, guys, thanks so much. Thanks for watching. Sorry if I hiccuped a few times at the beginning with the bad internet. Big hug. Thanks for watching. Ciao.